Yo. Welcome back to another video. We back in here, bro. We about to react to the best Ben 10 game ever. And I cannot disagree. I cannot disagree. This right here is the best Ben 10 game ever. Let's get right into it. I didn't mean to open up another tab. That was on me. Let me close that out. And here we go. So we got Ben 10, Protector of the Earth. I got a PS, so I could buy this game and get it here.
People who have been around this channel for a
But I
while
have
know
not
that I am
played
a
this
very
game
big
yet. But
fan
I've
of Ben
watched
10.
people
So it should
play
come
it,
as no
and it
surprise
looks
when
so
I tell you
cool.
that one of my all-time favorite games as a kid was this. Ben 10 Protector of Earth is a side-scrolling beat-em-up developed by High Voltage Software and released in October of 2007 on several consoles like the Wii, DS, and PSP. But the one I'm going to be looking at today is obviously the PS2 version because it's the one I grew up with. I really wanted to play this on the PS2 again when I was recording footage for this video, but eventually I decided it might be smarter to play through it on an emulator since it just looks a whole lot better. So just full disclosure, I can't be entirely sure how one-to-one it is with the actual game, but hey, it looks pretty good, right? You may be surprised to find that Protector of Earth doesn't adapt any events from the cartoon, instead opting for its own story set, I think, between the 3rd and 4th seasons, where you encounter previously recurring villains along a plot told through short cutscenes that play before and after levels. Some of them are a bit abrupt and almost feel like abridged versions of scenes from the show, but a lot of it is pretty charming.
Gwen, compliment your cousin.
Nice watch. Where'd you get it?
The game begins with one of Vilgax's bug drones sneaking on board the Rust Bucket one night and sucking juice out
Nice
of the
watch.
Omnitrix.
Where'd you get it?
That was
Gwen's
easy.
so
And the
funny.
following morning, the gang wakes to a meteor falling from the sky, which Ben is excited to go take care of until he discovers that the Omnitrix is malfunctioning for the 10,000th time.
It's hero time.
It's hero time.
Go, mighty Omnitrix power.
Good luck.
So, Gwen.
He's so sick of this shit. This is the game's explanation as to why you can't use the Omnitrix properly, and why throughout you're only able to access 5 aliens. I kinda love this reasoning too, if I'm being honest. It's cool to me that they at least tried to come up with a reason for the limitation, rather than just pretending like 7 of them don't exist. So, as you might expect, the game from there sees the Tennysons once again making their way across America, trying to recover shards of energy from the Omnitrix. Unfortunately though, this does mean you're going to be spending an uncomfortable amount of time earlier on in the game running around as a 10-year-old child. But never fear, Ben isn't fucking around this time. Holy shit, don't even think we need the Omnitrix for this one. In Ben form, you can still use basic attacks, and you'd probably be able to make it through every fight in the game without ever transforming. But his most useful ability to normal people is the Dark Souls technique of rolling around enemies until your Omnitrix recharges. At this point in time, you're only given 2 aliens, Forearms and Heat Blast. I wonder who the others might be. Heat
Bro,
Blast
you
is a
don't really
range of
need nobody
projectile
else to
attacks
put
that can hover through the air
Forearms and
briefly
Heat
if you hold
Blast.
X after a double jump, and is
They
also
should have
able to
stayed
absorb
Heat
fire
Blast for
when the
like
game wants you to clear your path. And Forearms
maybe the 3rd or
can
4th
punch
alien.
things.
Getting both of them off
Yeah,
rip.
you can also
That's
be used to push
un-
boxes and
un-
other objects out of the way to help
unfair.
you progress, because apparently the entire foundation of American security rests upon a bunch of switches on the floor. As you can expect in line with Ben 10, each alien transformation only lasts a limited amount of time, and you have to recharge it by collecting energy you get from beating the shit out of enemies. In combat, getting your health down to 0 doesn't kill you,
They
but
know
instead
we're gonna do
turns
all
you back
this. I
into
thought
Ben,
you was
which
just
arguably is
Ben 10 the whole
worse. And
time.
from there, if his health bar goes down, you're then greeted with the game's extremely abrupt death screens. Oh. Okay. Each new enemy encounter
Usually
prompts Grandpa
contain-
Max to give you a quick heads up about them.
These drones have been upgraded with a laser shot.
He does sound a bit too excited about some of them, though.
The Forever Knight champions are part of Enoch's elite guard. He must have placed a very high priority on this mission.
He and Gwen also pop in every now and then to give you probably the most condescending hints I've ever heard from a video game.
Which form could you use to put out all those fires?
Okay, yes, Gwen, thank you, I'm dumb, I know. Sometimes they're a bit delayed as well, which is always funny.
Check for ramps in your area. Looks like Cannonbolt could help here.
Thanks, Squid. To break up the combat, you're given 3 distinct attack buttons to prevent it from becoming a game where you just smash square a lot, which I did anyway, but hey, they tried. You can also string them together for the game's surprisingly robust combo system that let you pull off more powerful attacks you unlock throughout the game with specific button combinations that you're never going to remember. Your incentive not to just spam attacks though,
I just hit the square
power quite quickly,
and circle button.
And they think that's going to stop me. The first level sees you discovering that from the meteor emerges a giant Vilgax robot like the one from the first episode of the show, and it follows you throughout, leading
nice
to
callback.
an actual showdown where you come face to face with it. I love that you can see it
I
moving
do
in the
get-
background at certain segments. It does a really great job of building up the tension that you're eventually going to have to fight this thing.
Seems like it. How you take it down?
I
though?
was 10 years old, okay? I was very intimidated right now. Initially, this fight is all about avoiding its attacks trying to smush you. And as it does so, you're given a short window where you can beat up his hands. When you get its health
pretty
down to
easy.
a certain amount, you'll enter a brief segment where you have to turn back into Ben to initiate a quick time event, where he'll then mutilate the robot in some horrifically violent way. And back when I played this for the first time, I didn't know what quick time events were yet, so I thought it was the coolest shit ever. After doing this enough times, you beat it and retrieve
Did
a
you
shard of
take off his
Omnitrix
armor
inside its
chits?
chest. This unlocks you your third alien, Accelerate. From here, you learn
Yeah,
about Sheldon's main ability,
Accelerate.
where if you hold circle, you
I ain't gonna
can
lie, for the longest time, I thought his
down
name
a
was
short path
Upgrade.
for him to attack, letting you combo several enemies in
I
one
thought
hit.
Accelerate
It's
was
also
the,
unfortunately used for
Upgrade.
puzzles, where you have to hit numerous
Crazy,
switches
ain't
all at the same time or to quickly get through doors before they close. And there's like a 50-50 chance of this being super easy and satisfying or embarrassingly difficult. I don't want to talk about how long some of these took me, okay? The second stage introduces the Forever Knights, which makes doing this look even funnier. And yeah, again here with this next stage, they do a really great job of building up the boss throughout the level, with you gradually ascending in an elevator with this huge robot being revealed in the background. It's so cool, I really like it. When you reach the top, the game teaches you the hard way that it has another type of boss where quick time events can't save you anymore. I believe
True.
Music drives culture.
3,
It
2,
also makes money.
1. Come
lot
on,
of money.
skip. There we
the game
go.
considers these to be mini bosses, but my health bar certainly does not. Beating
It
him
ain't.
causes Enoch to rage quit so hard that he then fucks off to Hoover Dam to fight you again.
Does it come to this? The bad guys have run out of cool places to attack, so they just pick a giant concrete slab out in the middle of nowhere?
I loved this boss as a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So naturally, this time round, I got absolutely destroyed. The Enoch mech is sort of similar to the first boss, where you have to dodge his tantrums for long enough and then hit whatever's closest to you, until eventually he gets tired and rests
Bro,
on
I
the power
remember,
station. Hey Enoch, you want to see something funny?
Back in, when I was like,
I honestly found this a lot
think
harder than I thought I
13
would, mainly because the window of
to, like,
opportunity to damage
16.
him is a lot
I used to
shorter
play
than
the
you would
Ben
think.
10
But eventually,
games
I was
on,
rewarded for doing this for 20
the
minutes,
Cartoon
because
Network
afterwards you unlock
website.
the best alien, Cannonbolt. Completing
Yeah,
this
I would
finishes
just
the
be
first
on-
area of
on the
game,
computer
of
for,
which
like,
there are
hours
5.
just
And the level select menu is a map of
playing
America,
the Ben
marking
10.
down where you go through the game, which I think is an
Playing the
awesome
Ben
touch.
10 game, I mean.
Unfortunately, to
That
compensate
sounded a
for the
little
fairly
weird.
impressive variety of level environments, each area is capped off with these arena stages.
I had
where you
the,
just beat up constant
I
waves
had
of
the,
enemies you've already fought
Omnitrix
for what feels
too.
like 10 hours. I'm
I
not
think
really
I got
sure
it
why these are
somewhere,
here, to be honest, aside
but the
from just
batteries
making
are
the game
dead.
longer. Then Kevin 11 randomly
it
appears
came
from
out
null
forever
void, so now
ago.
you have to go beat him up too. With Cannonbolt, you now have access to ramps to let you get up to higher platforms or across
That's
large
cool.
holes in the ground. Man, thank God someone had the foresight to put a bunch of ramps everywhere in the middle of the forest. When I made it to Kevin, I remember thinking as a kid how bullshit I thought it was that he got to use the other aliens and I couldn't. After your battle, you then immediately sent him back to hell. And for the final
null
stage
void,
of this act,
not hell.
developers apparently decided
get
to make
out.
it the hardest fucking boss in the history of video games. This thing is so difficult. I don't understand. The plant monster has a bunch of these like
Get out of
ball
here.
sacks that you need to destroy in order
Saints
to enter
Row.
a phase where you can attack it with cannonballs. But it's super difficult to get in close because it keeps continually slamming its head down, and if you go anywhere near it, it'll lock onto you with more precision than a fucking airstrike. And its attacks eat through your health in 2 hits and bends in 1, which is just so cool. My eventual solution after about 10 deaths definitely did not involve activating the invincibility cheat for this children's video game, and then Ben rightfully fucking murders this stupid thing, and so unlocks the 5th and final alien, who I bet you're never going to guess. My god, no way! With Wildvine, you gain the option to use your stretchy
Invincibility
arms as a
cheat,
grapple
bro.
hook, which help you with platforming
Well, wish
across
we
large
would have known
premises
that
when the
earlier.
game decides it feels like locking on. Also, the animation for Wildvine walking always cracks me up. The next stage features the Halloween trio from Season 3, though surprisingly, the first boss you encounter is Hex.
When this portal opens, there'll be no stopping my army from
That sounds nothing like Hex.
to a living nightmare.
Who sounds a bit different from usual, but I'm sure
Right.
he's fine.
Nope, he's not fine.
Oh no.
Is that Ghost Freak?
Anyone who has ever heard me talk about Ben 10 knows that I was a very big fan of Ghost Freak. So as you can imagine,
was scared
when
of
I was
Ghost
younger,
Freak
I was
at first.
delighted to find out who the boss of the third act
When the
was.
show first came out, I was so scared of him.
After Ghost Freak's boss fight, you would think that here is the part where you would unlock another alien, but don't worry, they've thought of that already.
The Omnitrix is finally at full power, but I can't access my other forms. It's like that last crystal had all its DNA stripped out.
Oh, come on, boo! To make up for it, though, by this point in the game, you unlock a partial form of Master Control, where it now lets you switch between aliens instead of having to turn back into Ben every single time. By this point with the combat, I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't get repetitive at times, but
Wish
it's
we had
definitely a lot
Master
better than
Control
it
at
could
first.
be. And it's clear they
Maybe,
did their best to shake
maybe
up
it
every
didn't
now and
match
then
up with
all
the,
the very levels
storyline,
and constantly adding
but
new
maybe-
enemies
I
to
wish there was,
fight.
like,
I'm
a
fairly
cheat
sure,
where we
though,
could
that the
just get
different
Master
aliens
Control.
don't really provide any particular advantage in combat, as none of them have moves that are effective against specific enemies. But I could be wrong, because to be honest, 99% of the time I was just switching between Heat Blast and Counterbolt, so, you know, each enemy encounter is kind of just needlessly long. You would think that
Yeah, I
one
felt
wave
like-
would be
I think,
fine, but the majority
I
of the
played
ones in
that
the game
Spider-Man
have at least
game
2 or
on,
3 rounds of them spawning in, so you're
PS4.
always gonna be there for a while. And it's
It was
one of
like,
those
the
games
more
where
you
can't
played with the
progress to next
aliens, the more
area
you
until you're
upgrade
the
them.
last person
Like, you
standing,
couldn't
even if there's
upgrade
an open door
them by
literally
not
right
playing
there in
with them.
front of you. Please
I
let
was
me
always
out. I know
playing
that's
with,
literally what beat 'em ups are, though, so
who
maybe I'm just
was it?
uncultured. The next
I
area
think,
centers around alien mutations based on the transformations you're
was it
missing, like a
Humongosaur
diamond
or
bear, wild
Worms
dog, and a stink
in,
fly.
Heat
So it should
Blast.
come as no surprise as
So,
to who the next big bad is.
Anybody
Check the
else?
main lab.
But
I don't
wanna
know.
be alone.
Gwen!
Nice one, guys. After a brief boss fight with Clancy for some reason, Ben tracks down Animo, although to be perfectly honest, Gwen looks completely fine with her current situation. With this one, he'll eventually jump between these pillars where you have to try and knock him down by timing a switch press. But Animo wasn't as
What, in
stupid
the
as I
Donkey
thought it would be.
Kong?
And again, much like with the plant, it gets really frustrating because the game doesn't give you invincibility frames in between when you get hit. So if you get caught in an attack with multiple phases, it'll knock you out of your alien form and then kill you instantly as Ben. Thanks, Animo. At this point in the story, we learn that Vilgax has given up and is just straight up trying to send the entirety of Earth into the Null Void. So Grandpa Max decides the best course of action is to break into NASA. And where Protector of Earth rarely lets you be creative in fights outside of combos, there was this beautiful moment where I figured out I could just throw enemies off the edge with forearms. At the end of it all, you run into the CEO of NASA, and after another near impossible boss fight, the Tennysons attach rockets onto the Rust Bucket and launch it into space. Yeah, if this was anything other than Ben 10, I'd be questioning a few things by now. And this all takes you to the final boss of the game, a ripped as fuck of Vilgax. Holy shit! I think he's a bit pissed we interrupted his gym sesh. This fight again has 3 phases.
Yeah, that
all of
boy,
which I think are
Vilgax
really
was
cool
jacked.
in concept. The
I wouldn't
first
know
is
what
where I
type of
discovered
muscles
that
he
using
had,
Cannonball makes
but
it
he
take
was
about a
jacked.
minute where you can
Is that
just
a
absolutely
tattoo?
murder the shit out of him before he even has the chance to fight back. Oh,
Fight
fuck.
back,
While
fight
he's
back.
recharging, you have to hit these 4 machines in succession, which causes him to gain the power of flight for no reason, which means you once again have to use Cannonbolt to knock him down with these conveniently placed ramps on Vilgax's ship in space. The third phase,
Yeah,
however,
that
is
is crazy.
absolutely
But
fucking
it's
impossible
been 10.
because it requires you to immediately turn it to
They could have you, be in space,
before Swolgax turns it
and
to a
then,
death trap. And the time in between
while
when
you
he
in
uses
space,
this attack
you're
is
supposed
faster
to
than
help
your
somebody
Omnitrix recharging, so
on
essentially,
Earth
if you
in
get
like
hit
5
even
minutes,
once,
and
it'll
then
just kill you straight
you
away.
somehow
And on
just do
top
the
of
whole
that, he
thing.
does this homing
I
projectile
wouldn't
attack
care.
that knocks you down anyway, so you just... What the fuck? I really love the idea of this boss making use of so many of the aliens, and even after I found out that you're just meant to knock him to the ground, this bit is so cheap that it nearly ruins the whole thing for me. Finishing Vilgax off is another sequence of very violent quick-time events where Ben gives a hell of a beatdown with the Master Control, and eventually sends him flying off into the cold vacuum of space to die.
He'll be back.
Wicked awesome!
And from here, you can finally recover the rest of the Chaos Emeralds before the Tennysons get the fuck out of there before the ship is engulfed by the Null Void portal. And that's about it. There's one more stage you unlock from here, but it's just another arena fight level in the Null Void. Yeah, I know. But there is a post-credit scene that shows that Vilgax is... That's about it from the core game, but there's still a few other things I wanted to talk about. Now I
He's
can
still
find
alive.
cheat codes. Many of these are just earlier ways to unlock things that you get throughout the game anyway, like all of the combos in Master Control. And others that are just straight up cheating, like the invincibility, my personal lifeline. But there are also some other neat extra additions like the Dark Hero and DNA
I
Force
thought that was a
turn
villain the
heroes
whole time.
invisible.
That
There's
was,
also
I
a
guess that
friendly
was one
fire
a year.
option in case you hate your friends or siblings enough in the 2-player mode I entirely forgot was even in the game. There are galleries where you can view unlockable content like concept art and model viewers for the enemies and bosses, which I spent way too much time looking at as a kid. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying though that I always really hoped there were some hidden aliens to unlock, and I remember specifically it was the hero viewer that nearly tricked me into thinking there were way more, when really these slots were just the models for the alternate skins. I suppose maybe Protector of Earth just wasn't given the time or resources to implement the other aliens, or perhaps it was just for the sake of making a better game by focusing on less forms, which is understandable. But I did read something on the Ben 10 subreddit where someone said they could have done something with Ben Wolf, Ben Mummy, and Ben Victor as unlockables, since the enemies they're based off of are already in the game, and they could have just done a quick reskin for them or something.
I
don't
think
know,
this
it's not
game
really a
was
big
made
deal for me
a
now,
long
but it
time
certainly
ago.
gave future Ben 10 games something to
Or if
aspire
not
to.
that,
10-year-old
it was-
me, on the other hand, will
Oh,
never
no.
forgive you for this. I usually don't like talking about finding aspects of games challenging on YouTube anymore, because it always drudges up these comments from people who are always like, oh yeah, well I beat Vilgax when I was still a fetus in my mum's womb before my hands even existed. But I was genuinely surprised to find that the game was as difficult as it was. And there were just these really cheap moments, like that third phase in the Vilgax fight and the entirety of that fucking
Yeah, people
plant
be
monster,
trolling,
where
man.
you can
They
go from
still
full
do.
health to death in one attack, and it really
They
weighs
be
down
seeing
how
me
much I
playing and be
enjoy
like,
it
hey,
overall.
I'm
Although
so much
with
better
all
than
that
you.
being said, this could have been the result of me trying to play through the game as quickly as possible for the
I be
sake of the
trying.
video. So it could be
Like,
that I might have
come
enjoyed the
on.
game's difficulty a lot more had I had any form of patience.
You
And
know
yeah,
how
that's
many-
about everything I wanted to
How many
talk about.
messages I got
Oh,
where
wait,
they
yeah,
was
the
like,
DS version.
bro, I challenge
We'll
you.
talk about that one another day.
Like, huh?
Please let me know if you enjoyed
What you
this
talking
video
about?
enough, though, because there are plenty of
And
other
every
games
time they
out
challenge
there
me,
I'd
they
love to
don't got
talk about
PlayStation
sometime
Plus,
soon
so
and
we
find
can't
out I
play
suck
together.
at. But for now, thank you very
Like,
much for watching.
come
and I'll see you all next time.
on. Lady Sif. Oh, from Thor. It's kind of weird. But okay. Thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. I think I want to check something out.